Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our March 12th City of New Ulm Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. I want to give a special welcome to our guests that are here. Appreciate you attending our meeting this afternoon. First item of business will be to approve the March 12th agenda. This was emailed out in advance to all of our commissioners. Would look for any agenda additions or approval for today's agenda.
Move to approve.
Okay.
I'll second
We
it.
have a motion and second to approve the agenda as published. Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, on to item number 3, approval of the February 12th meeting minutes. Again, these were sent out in the packet. Would look for any comments, corrections to the meeting minutes. If there are no corrections, would look for a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Move adoption.
I'll second it.
We had a motion and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to item number 4, which was the February Department Activity Report. That again was sent out in the packet for a review prior to the meeting. Would look for any comments or questions for Director Schmitz or Assistant Director Corman. It's one thing I was pleased to read the high level of engagement and participation in the days of play. Seems like that transition from one day a year to multiple days has been successful.
Yes.
And we do have a tidbit of an update on the days of play. The teen day of play that took place on Saturday evening from 6 to 9 at the Recreation Center saw an attendance of about 175 teens.
Outstanding.
And in the past, it was about half that number. So a very successful Saturday evening teen day of play at the Rec Center.
Great. I saw the other one had 450. What is our capacity, just out of curiosity, before you feel like the building is maxed out
Well, the pool capacity is 300 and some.
by itself?
so,
Wow.
yeah.
Oof da. I wouldn't want to be in there with 300 other people, but all right, well. Any other questions or comments on the February report? Hearing none, just another thank you for the Park and Rec Department putting on those events. Those are great for the community. All right, on to item number 5, City Council meeting recap. Director Schmitz, the February 20th and March 6th City Council meetings.
Yes, thank you, Chair Fryer and Commissioners. February 20th saw the City Council authorize surplus items to be disposed of. They accepted donations. They accepted the parcel of land from the EDA for inclusion in Kiesling Park. And they authorized the Neighborhood Healthy Connection Alina grant application of up to $10,000 for Rec on the Go and other programs. They authorized the BMX camping for their state event this summer. And then they authorized the annual year-end budget transfers and encumbrances. March 6th, the City Council received the 2017 Deer Hunt Report and authorized a 2018 special archery deer hunt in town. They also authorized hiring McDonald and Mack to complete a conditions assessment of Herman Monument. And then finally, related to Park and Recreation is that they appointed City Councilor Lisa Fisher to attend lease meetings with the New Ulm Steel Hockey Club. And that's it for the past 2 City Council meetings.
Okay, any follow-up questions or comments related to the City Council meetings in action? Hearing none. Thank you, Director Schmitz. We'll move into old business. First item under old business. You were expecting this. Renew update. I'll turn it over to Director Schmitz. There is a proposed action form in the packet. If you look here at item number 6, and I'll have him give a little more background on the request this afternoon.
Thank you, Chair Fryer and Commissioners. It has come time that you should consider recommending to the city council that they authorize our first bond sale to take place later on this year. And along with that, recommend that they also pass a resolution, the reimbursement resolution, so that 60 days prior to the bond sale, we can recoup any expenses that we had for those 60 days prior to the bond sale. Basically, hiring architects and designers and so on would be in that phase. So, let's see here, under budgetary and fiscal issues, I think we're all aware of the fact that the city tries to bond no more than, or less than $10 million per year to get the best possible interest rate. The city, engineering and streets and sewers and so on, they plan to bond just under $3 million this year. The Public Utilities Commission does not plan on bonding this year, so that could leave potentially up to $7 million in sales tax bonds available to be sold this year. These annual summer GO bond sales take place in June or July. Another key item is that once these sales tax bonds are sold, there's 18 months of deadline for them to be used. So once we have a bond sale, it's full speed ahead with design and construction.
Well, I hope I'm not the only one that's excited to get moving on these. So, there's even applause from the audience. So as we've talked about meetings in the past, there is interest in having the commissioners participate in some of the committee work to help with the projects. Director Schmitz, I know, sent out a note asking for preferred projects for all. Did you get the response you're looking for from the commissioners?
Yes,
Okay.
mm-hmm, thank you.
So that was one step. Second is some action today, and what wasn't included, and correct me if I'm wrong, Director Schmitz or Commissioner Christian, Councilor Christian, is it looks like the forecast 2018, there's quite a bit of bonding available for the Renew projects, but 2019 doesn't look to be
Correct.
all that generous for Renew projects. Is that
Yeah, the
what I
city,
remember?
the city normally bonds about $3 million for streets and sewers and so on. And the PUC bonds some years and they don't other years. They are planning a substantial bond sale in 2019.
For 19, correct.
Yes. So we will have a significantly less, if we want to keep it under the $10 million total for the year.
And as I've shared in the past, I think all of this is aligning to kind of point to moving pretty quickly here with starting up the projects and the design element of, one, the bonding capacity for the city. Second is the inflation risk with the construction. Every year we wait, we'll get less of what we had hoped to achieve for the community and the region. And then lastly, as interest rates continue to creep, that will also minimize our ability to have the 13.5 or 14.8 million, depending on which number you use, available for the projects. So,
I do have one question for the director, just interest only. Okay, we got the 60 days. Tom, do we have any hiring you're going to do in April? You know, you got that 60-day window. June, July is when we do bonding. Most of the people are on board already with the engineering firm, and
We do not have the firms under contract yet.
Okay.
No, we're waiting for council action to commit to the bond sale. And then we have that date
right.
about when the
It's just,
bond
it's a tight
sale.
window.
Mhm.
At 60 days, we can recoup it. Okay.
Yes. We've been speaking with quite a number of firms,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're quite optimistic that we can choose a firm
Mm-hmm.
once the city council authorizes it.
I would have a question about, we anticipate likely then $7 million being requested for bond sale. Is that what you anticipate? That's what we can
I'm
do?
going to say
Do you
requesting,
anticipate
it's
that?
available.
Yes, that's available. And so I would anticipate maybe somewhere between 6 and 7, that we actually decide to, that the council actually decides to allow
And then we'd have to we've got 18 months
to spend that.
to spend it.
Yes.
And the spending, do the projects need to be complete in order to spend?
Not complete, but we pay contractors and
As
so on
it goes.
as work gets completed. They submit requests for payment, partial payment on projects.
So we have X projects anticipated that we'd use within that time frame, and what would those be, in addition to Johnson Park?
Well, great question. We've got certainly, I think, $1 million earmarked for Johnson. The aquatic improvements are in the $4.5 million range. And then the gymnastics center and the fitness center and the indoor playground are probably a similar amount in the $4 million range. And then the dome is estimated between 2.5 and 3.5, depending upon how elaborate we go. So my point is, I'm confident that we have enough projects to
Right.
get started with.
But
You
we
know.
don't necessarily know, except for Johnson, which sequence we're gonna combine at this time.
I can tell you that 5 of the 7 projects are ready to go.
They are.
Yes. We don't have an agreement consummated with the school district nor the gymnastics groups. The other 5 projects are ready to go.
We brought some of that here in past meetings. I think it'd be good to revisit that. As my preference would be, obviously Johnson was I think agreed upon as the first project out of the gate, and there's timing and reasons for that. The second would, I guess, I would recommend would be the focusing on the rec center campus. And there's just many elements of that I think would align well in the timing, and there's less uncertainty with that campus development than with the other project, meaning the dome with the school district and the relationship there. So, and I agree with Tom. We can. The dollars add up so darn quickly on those projects that if we have the architects and engineers hired and can work on a construction schedule, I'm confident in the 21 months from April 1st until we would be expected to expend those funds, the $7 million, we should be able to achieve that goal.
And the Herman Heights improvements are estimated at $750,000. And that project's ready to go also.
Okay, good questions. Other questions or comments on Renew? Would look for support at the recommended action form here to authorize bond sale in 2018 and a resolution allowing reimbursement so we can get going on the projects.
Move adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to the other item of old business, item number 7 on the agenda, additional off-leash dog areas. Again, there were multiple pages included in the packet for background from last month. This was carried forward as a tabled item. And we'll turn it over to Director Schmidt, see if there's any more updates.
Thank you, Chair Fryer and Commissioners. I have nothing new to report over the past month. You've had a month to review the various options, and I think the primary issues and alternatives to consider have not changed. We've not located any other municipally owned land that might serve an off-leash dog purpose. And so I'm certainly happy to try to answer any questions you may have. Some of these, there are, 11 options here. Many of those do have potential conflicts with neighborhoods, parks, and trails. There were very few of them that were truly unused areas or wilderness areas. So I would, if you're able to make a recommendation in whatever that form may be, it's up to you, then, I can forward that on to the city council and so on.
I, for one, I've dealt with the leash law. I've gotten many phone calls on it with a lot of people with the P&P, Parks are for People. There's only one item on here I might go with, Wellner's Island, and for the next 2 years, that's not going to be the greatest for accessibility for people. And yet, what I'm hearing from people, the leash law is great, dogs are not running in parks anymore, don't pick on my park. I mean, that's what I heard. I had the phone calls for it. Don't let my park be the one.
Did you hear any concern to option number 4, expanding the existing park? The existing dog park?
No, the people that I had talked to, nobody said anything about expanding it. I don't think people would have an issue with that. That's
Yeah.
controlled.
Yep.
They're not running free. It's a controlled atmosphere.
But that would be an option that we
It's
would
an
have,
option.
is to expand the existing park, so there would be more area. Okay, other comments, feedback that you've had, or revelations over the last 30 days? We're looking for some recommendation to the city council as it relates to off-leash dog areas, and I think our options would be, we're not interested in expanding or offering any new option, or item number, a combination of item number 4 and item, where was the Wellner Island? 7B?
7B.
Okay, any other options that the commission would be supportive of? I'm seeing heads nod over here.
I'm curious what Counselor Christian might have a thought on related to number 2. The city-owned berm on the south end of town, possibly even the riverside
Right.
of the city-owned
The
berm.
riverside, but what I'm looking at is, your long-term plan about that trail is going to continue, and now you're back to city council, complaints with people, hey, I'm walking on the trail and there's dogs coming up and chasing my stroller, chasing the bicycle. I'll go on record, I'm not for that. Too many people saying they're happy with the leash law.
Thank you.
Okay. So would there be support for number 4 or number 7B, or a combination?
Well, I'd support number 4.
Same here.
Yeah, also that one I didn't have an issue with, just expanding what's there already. They're in controlled atmosphere.
Okay, any other comments? And in the past, Director Schmidt's number 4, the dog park, has been a partnership between the city providing the property and other contributions for the fencing and the water, is that correct?
The dog park enthusiasts have been funding development.
Is that assumed with number 4?
Well, I don't think there's necessarily anything assumed, but if we want to expand the dog park, there would be cost incurred with additional fencing, and then it would be a matter of determining if that was going to be privately funded or if it's something we wanted to try to budget for in the future.
So would it be acceptable if we looked at supporting number 4 with determining at a later date timing of that and funding?
That'll be
of
the
that?
first question from me is, who's going to pay for it?
But that at
How
least
much
the
money has
commission
Tom's
would be,
budget got?
right. But at least the
Right.
commission would be open to utilizing that property. Is that
Yes, I
Fair.
think that would be an appropriate recommendation.
is what I'm hearing on the other ones? We're not even interested in developing additional dog parks or areas at the other parks. This one would be open to expanding the area, just need to determine how that would be funded.
Correct.
Is there enough interest that someone would be willing to make a motion or recommendation to the city council?
I'll make a motion that we recommend option 4.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to recommend option 4, expanding the existing dog park. Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to, thank you, everyone. On to item number 8 under new business, donations. Director Schmitz, again, there was a information sheet in the packet.
Thank you, Chair Fryer and Commissioners. There's been a number of donations offered to the city over the past month. I'll read them into the record. First of all, for the Rec on the Go activity program, which is a new program we're planning to kick off this year, a $5,000 cash gift from the New Ulm Public Schools Community Education Fund. Then for the Days of Play events, $100 from Fastenal, $500 from Dietrich Specialties, $1,400 from the Optimist Club, and $100 from New Ulm Chiropractic, for a grand total of $7,100 in cash donations. I recommend you forward this on to the City Council for their acceptance.
Okay, we'll look for a motion of support.
I'll make the motion. We accept the donations.
Second.
And we have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Was wondering if we were going to get hung up on not accepting those donations and have to return them. All right. Everybody's so engaged with our computer system here, we get to look ahead at the next item, Give and Grow Donation Program. Director Schmitz.
Thank you, Chair Fryer and Commissioners. This is a program that a number of both public and private entities have, a formal program for a promotion and marketing of projects and programs that donors may have an interest in funding. Most locally here, I know that the city of Mankato has a substantial program called the Wish Book, and that has been attached into the packet here. And so what I'm recommending we do is we ask for city council authorization to establish our own program. Staff went through about 25 different names because we don't want to use the same name as our neighbors to the east. And so far, the staff recommended name is Give and Grow. That name could be changed. And the actual process would be that staff, citizens, anyone could recommend a project or a program, comes to the Park and Rec office, staff reviews it, and then brings it to the Park and Rec Commission. And if the Park and Rec Commission likes it to be on the dream list or the wish list, so to speak, then we forward it on to the City Council for its official acceptance to be on the Give and Grow list. And then at that point, we would market it on the city website and Facebook pages with, photos and a description and so on. So this is the first step,
Do you know how
budgetar-
long? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Budgetarily, an important thing to keep in mind with new projects is that, they often require maintenance, repairs, and replacements. So we have to think closely about that. As we've accepted the Glockenspiel without a repair endowment. We've accepted Herman Monument without a repair endowment. So I think we want to look closely at these ideas and these potential gifts with an eye on the long term.
Okay. Are there, one question I had was, do you know how long Mankato's had their program in place?
I do not know for certain, but I know it's been at least a few years.
And have they had much success? I mean, are there,
Actually, I think it's been
Big gifts
longer
coming
than
in?
that. Yes, they have
Okay.
had, I think they're on their second book. I think a number of their projects have been completed, including, you know, a lot of it had to do, I think, with Riverfront Park, Vetterstone Amphitheater, and, you know, quite a number of other large and small developments.
Okay. What questions would we have from the commission for Director Schmitz?
Well, it sounds like the idea is a good idea, and we still have the option to review each of the wishes that would be coming along.
Mhm.
So I guess I don't see any downside to it.
I agree.
So I'll move adoption.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to recommend the city council authorize establishment of a Give and Grow donation program. Any more discussion? Okay, all those,
Just to go on record, I want to back what Mr. Schmitz said. Just remember, though, some of these projects in the past that have been donated have cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long term. Just a reminder. I'm for the program, but like the Glockenspiel, that's the one that sticks out. We spend a lot of money repairing it. The parks budget does.
yep, important to note that. And I would assume that it wouldn't just include the potential for new projects, but could also include reinvestment in current facilities or parks or,
Yes, and that is in the action form. Under primary issues number 3.
okay.
You know, and in speaking of the Glockenspiel, you know, Clara Schunlau was very, you know, wonderful in donating the funds for the project, and now we're into repair and replacement. That's a funding opportunity. I mean, an organization or a donor could say, I'll buy a figurine for $10,000, or I'll buy all of them for, you know, 22 times $10,000. So there is, you know, an opportunity for involvement with existing projects and facilities.
Okay, any more discussion? We have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Exciting. Thank you for bringing that to us.
Thank you.
Next item, under new business, soccer fields. Director Schmitz.
Thank you, Chair Fryer and Commissioners. We have 2 representatives of the Soccer Association who are here to speak to us about their interest in field space and improving the soccer opportunities in our community and region.
Okay, if you can, introduce yourself. I know you can. If you would, please introduce yourself. Name and address for the record, please.
Rebecca DeMarie, 1839 Crestview Drive.
Okay, thank you.
Michael Shanneman, 118 North Garden.
All right, outstanding. Please, share an overview of your request.
Okay, what we're trying to do is have the Art Wall Park be an alternative soccer field for us in the New Ulm Soccer Association. Right now, it has been considered a dormant park. Last meeting, it was an option for a possible dog park. And if you look at the Park and Rec's website, currently, we are competing with a dog park in the way of usage. We have one dog park, we have one soccer field on the website that the Park and Rec currently maintains and supports. Our association has been lucky and fortunate to have MLC provide fields for us to use. Currently, those fields are being reconsidered for repurposing for future. But what we're trying to do as an association is look at the bigger picture. We want to meet with the Park and Rec Commission, discuss future opportunities for future locations, and also try to work in green spaces in town that are a win-win for everybody. And that means, there again, thinking out of the box. I read the survey in 2014. We need to have various things. Water park was huge. You know, but soccer fields was on there, dog parks were on there. I'm only trying to figure out how we as a soccer association can be part of more thought from the Park and Rec our commission, sorry. So Tom and I had talked. We had talked about revitalizing the soccer field and taking it from the possible donation to the dog park to make it back to a soccer field, which is designed for. And if you look at the future plans for that Johnson complex, that field will no longer be there, it'll be a parking lot. So this is a very short-term fix for our soccer association. It is the driest field in New Ulm come April and May. We can only play on those fields when they're dry. That field down there is the driest field. So we need to have a location for our kids to play on that aren't getting soaking wet feet.
And what we're looking for is, at the recreation standpoint, we're currently looking at our U4 to U8 age groups. With the dimensions of that particular field that Mr. Shaneman is referring to, we can fit 6 soccer fields at the recreation level on that. So we'd also want that to work in with Joey Shugel's program, because I know that he's got a soccer program throughout the summer. I don't see any problems with any overlap with that. But we're looking to be a part of the community, and this would be a good opportunity, on Mike's point, as a short-term option to be able to work out whatever kinks there are, what else is needed aside from insurance, to let you guys know that we have skin in this game. We want to be a part of this. We want to absolutely be a part of our city. And we want to provide opportunities for families, and we want to be able to work with the Parks and Recs Committee and Parks to be able to provide that outlet, because, you know, everybody needs a plan B, and the college has been good to us for 21 years. We've been here for 21 years, and things happen, and we just want to be prepared, as do you, so that we're not scrambling last minute to be able to find places to play. So, thank you.
Yeah.
And Tom, Director Snitch, or Commissioner Snitch, sorry, not yet. He also mentioned another park that is by the retention pond going towards Excel Center, is that right?
A Fender Park, Colonel Wilhelm
Yes,
Fender Park.
drove by it today. That is a potential green space that could house 2 regulation fields. Last year, one of our regulation fields got taken away and is now a lacrosse field for the college. So we're starting to lose fields based on the college's need for more room and more playable green space. So that would work for us. Currently, where we were to put the U6 and U8 fields, the city dumps their snow at that location, and that is another reason to get this the art wall pushed through as quickly as possible, because we need to start numbering the fields to prepare them for play. We play it hopefully by April 15th. The snow that's been piled in that corner, which they do every year, it's
The Milford Street, Oakwood
Yes.
corner,
Yep.
Milford, Oakwood corner.
That's what we have to overcome. So it's that Art Wall Park is going to be a flexible space for us that we can use. They do currently mow it, so the cost is not, it would just be a matter of lowering it. We would measure and paint the field, so the cost is not any different than you're currently doing right now. The only consideration, what we would have to do, is to see how frequently you would mow the 2 regulation Wilhelm Park, or what is it, the
Fender Park?
Fender Park, sorry. Yeah, it's his first name, sorry. That would be the only concern that we would have, is to see at what level. I know we talked about the hilly nature of it, and that would be, over time, we could modify those fields to make them a very good location for soccer. And the parking is much better than on 27. It's over by Excel Center. It's a dead-end road.
Yeah.
It makes sense. For safety purposes, Cindy, we would consult you on that as well.
I do have one question for Director Schmitz. I don't remember, way back when Mueller Park and we had redone all that toward on Archstone, was there council action on designating that as the soccer field? I don't remember.
Yes.
I thought
It
so.
was designated, and there were Mighty Kicks grant funds expended for the development of that soccer field. And it has been dormant for a few years because the soccer groups have not had a need for that field. And I think it's very appropriate now for the commission to authorize reestablishment of that as an operational soccer field.
And I don't even know if that I'm pretty sure it went in front of council. Yeah, it was designated. This is soccer space in Mueller Park.
Yes, and we
You'd have to
accepted a
check. I don't
state
even know it
grant.
has to go back to council. It's already designated as
Yeah,
a soccer
it will not
facility.
need to go to the
Right.
city council. It's just, if the commission likes the concept, I would recommend they pass a motion to authorize the department to work with the association to reestablish soccer operations at the soccer field.
Okay.
Is that when I say thank you?
They haven't taken action yet.
Okay, all right, I was just waiting
You
for
gotta be
the...
patient, Mike.
You
Any
have
other
access
questions?
to get to that park?
All we need is a key from the Parks and Rec. What we would do is we would have the key to unlock it and lock it as we need to for play. We would rent a porta potty, leave it there for the players.
Along
And
with
then
garbage cans.
and garbage cans, we would monitor the park for its not only its cleanliness, but we would measure it out so the city doesn't have to incur any additional dollars to measure it, stripe it. We would put the nets on it because I think the framework is there. We just have to get the nets back on the framework, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not certain about the
I-
goal frames.
And that's the other reason, the sooner we get this to go, our ordering process has to take place quickly on this.
This be short-term in Miller Park, right? The short-term of the pool soccer park by Miller Park?
By the art wall.
Right.
We call it the, we're gonna call it that as our location is the art wall, yeah.
When is that, is that around April and May?
April 15th is when we hope to kick off. That's, snow melt. It all depends on the
Weather
snow.
permissible, yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to get our volunteers on the fields around that second week of April, just so we can start laying them out. It just depends on how wet the fields are. And, it's our goal to get on, and then play starts around the beginning of May.
Well, to run till June then, or what?
End of July.
Yeah.
July?
And then we do also offer a fall recreation program for kids from the ages of 4 to 10 that usually play. That's a little bit smaller because the high school students are obviously playing in high school. And so that's a little bit shorter. That usually runs end of August through end of October, weather permitting.
Can you access that from Miller Park, the parking lot, and walking, or what?
That was going to be a question that, yeah, we should probably ask.
You can
too.
take
Yeah.
a bike trail. But that's a little longer it depends. I mean, there again, you can park up around the art wall building and to the right as you go under the bridge. How many cars it will accommodate, I haven't laid that out. I don't know, I'm not quite sure.
There's a very small gravel parking lot, just to the west of the railroad underpass, and that would be the, recommended parking area. And then if there's gonna be soccer people parking at Miller Park, we would recommend that that doesn't take place during baseball games.
Sure. And we can note that. That's one of the, yes. And of course, this is short-term. In 2020, it's gone. It's a parking lot. So, we don't want to spend a lot of time, effort to try to modify it for a long period because it'll,
Maybe.
I don't know that, I don't think that plan has been endorsed or
The
funded.
Johnson Miller master plan is a concept
Oh, sure.
plan, and it has not been adopted yet. So those are just a variety of different concepts that have been
So the renewed
established.
portion was only the grandstand, wasn't,
Oh.
wasn't that
Right.
portion of the
Yeah.
master plan?
Personally, I don't think you're going to see that turn into a parking lot in 2020.
I think it could. I think it'll probably be a soccer field for a long time.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
That's appreciated because what we're trying to do, I'm a parent of a young man over there who loves soccer and a daughter, and it's not about me. It's about the association leaving a legacy. And the legacy that we have in New Ulm is important to me and our association. We talk about Germany, we talk about the strict, how German soccer is played. people that are coming to New Ulm to move here are looking for those amenities. They're looking for soccer. They're looking for dog parks. They're looking for a lot of things that Parks and Rec have to offer. So we as an association want to do the best we can with Parks and Rec to offer that.
So we're really excited for this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, with that being-
I'm sensing support for the department leadership to work with them to revitalize the old soccer field.
The dormant soccer field.
Dormant
will
soccer field.
No longer be dormant.
Is there a motion for that?
Motion to approve, receive the soccer association's request and have them work out the details with the park department.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any more discussion?
My only concern is the Art Wall Park gets a lot of, not the best pictures and whatnot up there. So if you're having a lot of younger kids, is it gonna be something that some of you guys are gonna be monitoring to a point so that when you have little kids coming down, they're not seeing these things? It's not a surprise of something that was done overnight and the families are seeing crude pictures that are up on the art wall? So there's not a lot of
First time
extra
that
complaints?
question has been asked. So I'm sure we'll have a bucket of paint or whatever it needs to be to make it appropriate. We want it to be safe for our children.
I was gonna say, or maybe, there's opportunity there where, maybe that's something that we do on our picnic days. We give our kids the opportunity to decorate the art wall, something. But absolutely, we will monitor that.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yep.
Okay.
I have
we had
seen it.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
coming. On to item number 11, under new business, healthy snack and beverage vending machines. There's an action sheet and a little more background in the packet. Director Schmitz?
Thank you, Chair Fryer and Commissioners. This is an opportunity to reevaluate our vending options of snack and beverages throughout the Park and Recreation system, and, most heavily in the Recreation Center, but seasonally in some of the parks and at the Civic Center. Presently, we have a Pepsi machine. We've got a number of different Pepsi machines around the system. And then we also have a snack machine at the Recreation Center and at the Civic Center. And they are maintained by, Pepsi. And then the Candyman maintains the snacks machines for us and provides a fee to the Park and Recreation Department annually for that use. This is an opportunity for the commission to think about the different options that have been offered, beverage and snack options, and consider possibly establishing an opinion or a policy slanted towards more healthy options of snack and beverage in our vending machines. So I also know we have some people in the audience that are very passionate about this topic, if they would like to speak. But I certainly want to broach this topic and recommend that in the end or later on today that you authorize staff to work to develop a plan, and we'll bring it back to you at a future meeting in which to endorse the plan or the policy.
Okay. That's the background. Jen or Cindy, are you willing to speak to the recommendation?
So I'm prepared to talk about Cindy Winters, Heart of New Ulm Project, 1324 5th North Street. I'm prepared to talk about the sugar sweetened beverage side of it because we have the Heart of New Ulm Project has done some surveying around the amount of sugar sweetened beverages and healthy eating that people have done in the community or what they would like to see. In 2015, we did a community resident survey where 482 people answered and completed this survey. And one of the questions was, in the past year, which of the following ways, if any, have you attempted to improve your healthy lifestyles? And 81% said that they were trying to eat more fruits and vegetables, and 47% stated that they were drinking fewer sugar-sweetened beverages. So people are really trying to cut back on the amount of sugar sweetened beverages. And I also have from our last screenings that the Heart of New Ulm Project did in 2014, 2015, we asked individuals how many servings of sugar sweetened beverages they drank in a week, and it was a 12-ounce bottle. So do you drink 3 or more 12-ounce servings a week of sweetened beverages? And actually 73% said that they do not. So I think if you're concerned about if you take them out that there would be some real pushback by the community, I don't think you're going to see that because people really are trying to make healthier choices. And so we're talking about water, we can have water, flavored water, fruit juices, and diet soda, but not the regular sugar sweetened pop.
And I'm Jen Mauer, Wellness Specialist at the New Ulm Medical Center, and I'll just add a couple things along with the sugar sweetened beverage. So it does align with the goals and the mission of the Park and Rec Department to not have sugar sweetened beverages or candy. There's a sign actually hanging in the rec center that says that, right next to the pop machine. So it does align really well with the goals of Park and Rec, as well as we know that 30% of the youth in New Ulm are either overweight or obese, and consuming sugar sweetened beverages or sugar sweetened beverage has no nutritional value whatsoever. And so we know that even helping with that piece would probably help with the youth. And then I'll throw out one fun little fact that I created. So if half of New Ulm were to drink one 20-ounce soda a day, it actually would be enough sugar to fill 9 school buses. So if you think of all of that added sugar into the diets of our youth and our residents, it's kind of overwhelming.
Okay.
So what questions do you have?
Questions from the commission on soda machines?
Well, for Director Schmitz, just a clarification, I think you heard you say that the staff would be developing a program and with specificity then and bringing that back to Park and Rec?
Yes. If you like what you've heard so far and direct staff to do so, we will bring back a plan or a policy in the future for your review and adoption.
For me, I would share, this has been a kind of a point of conflict for me of we do a lot to publish that we're really focused on wellness, well-being, healthy living, healthy lifestyle. So when I have walked into the rec center and it's after school and there's 4 kids drinking a big Mountain Dew that they just bought from us, it appears to me that Quick Trip and other businesses want to be selling and profiting off of Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper and Snickers bars and everything else. Great. If people want to buy that and bring it in, I think that's the opportunity for us to promote it, for us to sell it, and then kind of count on the revenue. Seems to contradict what we talk about the other 90% of the time as the city of New Ulm, as Heart of New Ulm, as the Park and Rec of we're here to try to create an environment to inspire and encourage and provide every opportunity for people to maintain a more healthy lifestyle. And we need it. I mean, this is the first generation that they're projecting a lower life expectancy than all of us. Well, that's troubling to me. And, if you look back in time, there are critical points where kind of some hard decisions are needing to be made that for a community, for a city, for a business, for an organization. And I feel like this is going to be one of them. It's going to be a tough one over time for us to kind of think about the behaviors and nutritional choices and physical activity that we're making, but it's having a toll on our community. It's having a toll across the country. The poor nutrition and the low physical activity. So I think we're going to have to make some bolder moves or else just get used to the trends that are happening. I think these are going to, more of these decisions likely will have to come from us to affect change in this community. So I had talked to Director Schmitz about this and just shared, I think it feels like it's appropriate to call the question here and get some discussion going at the commission here. And then hopefully there will be support for asking department leadership to move forward and creating a plan that we can review and hopefully support. It's my 2 cents. Other,
Well, I move adoption.
okay.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have 1, I believe. All right, thank you, everyone. On to item number 12, new business, Zamboni Advertising, Director Schmitz.
Thank you, Chair Fryer and Commissioners. The last action item in our packet for this month, and that is the fact that the Civic Center advertising program has changed over time. And here we have an opportunity to modify the Zamboni advertising specifications. They were originally established in 2004, and we now realize our staff is recommending a change to the Zamboni advertising specifications. As you know, the New Ulm Steel Hockey Club has exclusive rights to advertising in the South Arena as part of their lease agreement. And the city still has exclusive rights to operate the advertising program in the North Arena. But we have a couple of modest changes to the advertising specifications. And the new list is before you, the new spec sheet, and staff is recommending that you forward this on to the city council for their. My understanding is that it does not need to go to city council, that this is a commission decision. And I recommend that you adopt the change in advertising specifications for the Zamboni.
Okay, any questions for Director Schmitz? Any concerns about the recommendation from Director Schmitz? Hearing none, would be looking for a motion to support the updated advertising specs for the Zamboni.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Director Schmitz.
Thank you.
On to the last section of the agenda, reports. Director Schmitz, anything you want to highlight?
Not necessarily,
Report.
Chair Fryer and Commissioners. There's quite a list, and not a whole lot of change over the course of the winter as far as construction projects go. I'm happy to try to answer any questions you may have about anything on the list. As far as Eagle Scout candidate projects, we're still in the beginning stages of working with Dylan Cotton, Eagle Scout candidate, on our first Gaga Ball pit. And we are putting together the finishing touches on the next program brochure for spring and summer. That'll be coming out in the not too distant few weeks. So I have nothing specific or special to add other than what's in the packet at this moment.
One question, the sponsorship opportunities, would you envision that transitioning to be incorporated into the Give and Grow?
Yes, exactly, yes.
Except for, there are some other smaller sponsorship opportunities throughout the year, like the Days of Play, like the Herman Run T-shirts, that would not necessarily be a part of the Give
Okay.
and Grow. They're
Maybe a little
just-
bit more on programming
Yes.
versus on
Yes,
facilities or
right.
park improvement. Okay, great. Any more questions for Director Schmitz or Assistant Director Corman today? Commissioner reports. Any reports, things to bring up from the commissioners? Or Councilor Christian?
None. Mr. Schmitz covered them all.
Okay. Well, hearing none, our next meeting will be April 9th, back here at 4 p.m. I appreciate the good discussion, attendance from our guests and presenters. Thanks for being here. We'll adjourn the meeting.